Saturday morning. Thanks to Insperity. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solutions with exceptional fall through. You can also get your questions in via Twitter at ESPN 97.5. Charlie, Texas swing is behind us. We've got Colonial in 2 weeks up in Cowtown, but we've got an exciting stretch of pro golf ahead of us. Quail Hollow for the Wells Fargo this weekend, and then the PGA at Valhalla next weekend. Wrapped up the Insperity Invitational last week. Great to be with you this week, Charlie.
It's great to be with
You
you.
got your
I'm a little disorganized. I don't know why. A lot going on here on a Saturday morning in Houston, Texas. But you're right. We've been through a 6 to 8 weeks of great golf. Including the Masters, the Players Championship. We're set up for a good spring. Little late spring, but then the summer comes and the PGA is coming in 2 weeks.
next week. Next week's the
Isn't that
PGA at
something?
Valhalla. Yeah, no, and obviously some great major championships there over the years. 2000, Tiger beating Bob May. It's a great golf course. They've done some work to it, but yeah, a lot of players this week. We'll hear some sound. Justin Thomas, Wyndham Clark. They get their scouting trips in for these majors. 2-3 weeks ahead of time, Charlie.
You know what I'd do if I was Jordan Spieth?
What would you do?
Stop practicing.
Do you fire McCormick?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
You think that's a big problem right now?
Well, it's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, where else are you going to, football, you fire the coach, when you're losing. And what he's done here is really not Jordan Spieth.
And I feel in the last 3 years, we've seen him working on different things in the swing. It's not very consistent,
No.
what he's working on.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop the insanity. It's just a game. It's just good grip, good aim, good stance. That's it.
Yeah.
And put the club in motion. I mean, you can see that the nerves are just eating his swing up, the doubt. I mean, he can't hit it over water.
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch there on the Green Mile late yesterday. Jordan Spieth coming off a missed cut at the Byron Nelson. Yeah, doubled the par 3 17th. It was playing 138
138.
there yesterday, Charlie. So,
I'm going out to play with my grandson Ben today.
wow.
Ben can give him two
Yeah.
shots aside.
That's no problem. 138 over water. That's easy 8 for Ben.
No, it's a 9-iron.
Really? He's coming along. He's like Charlie Wiley now.
I mean, it's so much fun, and to get a text from my grandson, "Hey, Papa, you got time? Take me out to the golf course today." Are you kidding me?
That's priceless.
That's priceless. So it's good, and we played yesterday. You and I and John Sorrentino, and who won the money yesterday?
You won everything, Charlie.
everything.
You cleaned up. We played sixes. We each
Yeah.
took turns every 6 holes. You won with Mark. You won with John. You won with me.
Did I birdie 18?
You did birdie 18.
But you tied.
I covered it, Charlie.
covered it.
I was there. But your shot on 18, and you had 171 in.
Yeah.
And hit a little 24-degree hybrid.
That's it. I'm retooled. I got a whole new set of clubs, compliments of Mr. John Solheim and Ping, and it's for old people, and I'm an old person, and I got these Pings in the utility clubs. They're designed to help. And they did, and I'm in love with golf again.
You spent a lot of time on the range last week at the Insperity Invitational,
Yeah.
catching up with a lot of your good friends,
Oh.
Lee Trevino, Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite. I mean, on and on and on. We talked about some of the different shafts that the Champions Tours guys have, and,
Yes.
and Lee Trevino's using a shaft called Autoflex, and it's very innovative, a lot more flexibility. Talk about your experience last week at the Invitational.
It's just magical. I salute Brian Noggles, the tournament chairman, his history in the game. He's taken care of all the players. He was a rules official. He ran tournaments. He's running a champion event that's been going on for 21 years. It's the best one, according to the players, on the Champions Tour because of all the amenities and the attention to details. but he added a new thing. Not it's been 6 years since the greats of golf have come back, and led by Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Lee Trevino. Tom Watson was here again this year, and then Jim Nance is the MC at the dinner Thursday night, and they gave out a nice award, the Dave Marr Award, for golf pros that just go and do extra special things. And Mark O'Meara was the honoree. So it's just a great week, and we had the worst weather ever, but nobody complained.
No.
I mean, if you're going to run something that's outdoors, it's going to rain, you got to handle it. And everybody did, starting from Jack Nicklaus and clinics on the lesson tee when you couldn't go to the golf course, the interviews that he allows. It's just really fun if you're a golfer. I mean, people that like to go to Indianapolis 500, that's a different type of an event. But golf is historic, and the guys hang around forever. I would never have thought that Jack Nicklaus would be playing a scramble on a Saturday afternoon, but he had more fun than anybody.
I got more texts saying, Will, it's too bad the tournament got a little rain, a little weather. I'm sitting here going, we got 36 holes of pro golfing on Saturday, and we still got to watch the greats of golf. I feel spoiled because I never got to watch Jack and Lee and Gary in their primes. So to be able to watch not only three guys, but now Tom Watson, Julie Inkster, Nancy Lopez, it's special to me because I recognize that I'm not going to see in 30 years the players that I watched and the superstars that I watched come back together because their egos are so overblown. And so to watch Jack and Gary and Tom interact with the fans, interact with old members of the media, everyone comes out and celebrates. And at the crowd at 11:50 at the Woodlands Country Club on 10.
Wall to wall.
Fantastic.
Incredible. And you got other champions. Ben Crenshaw was in that group. Buck Rogers is in that group. We all miss Fuzzy Zeller. He was always so much fun. He attended the tournament, the Insperity Invitational every year, and he was always. But God rest his soul, his wife passed away, and he's struggling a little, but my heart goes out to him.
79 Masters champion.
Yes.
Won in his Masters debut.
Yes.
At Augusta, and the last man to do so.
Yeah, and the first man won it. No, well, the gentleman that won the first Masters.
There you go.
So.
There you go. I'll tell you what. The Invitational last week, much better crowds than the Byron, Charlie. What are they going to do with that golf course? This has been the talk of the town all week. Mr. Palmer's event at a great golf course. Mr. Nicholas's event at a great golf course. Tiger's event at Riviera. How does Byron Nelson's event get put at TPC Craig Ranch?
Well, the Byron Nelson used to be played at Preston Trails, a historic golf course, and it had some great victories by Tom
Weisskopf?
Tom
Watson?
I was thinking of Weisskopf, but Watson. But it was historic, and a course like that, people could identify with. Hopefully, it could go back to something like that. That tournament deserves it, using Byron Nelson's name. So let's see what history is going to do. It's got to go to a Class A tournament, Class A golf course.
I think, Las Colinas was fantastic for a long time after Preston Trail. Then they moved it to Trinity Forest, which Mr. Crenshaw did a great job on. It's just the location of the golf course is a little tricky, 40 minutes north of Dallas. And then McKinney, where it is now, that's 45 minutes north of Dallas. So they got to get it back to inner city Dallas, exactly like Jim Crane got the Houston Open back to Memorial Park.
Yes.
We've seen how much that has changed the tournament, so stay hopeful there. Taylor Pendrith, the Canadian, was the winner at the Byron Nelson
What a
last
great
week.
victory, huh?
74th start, first victory at 32 years old, and now he's going to have a great chance to make that Canadian Olympic team.
Perseverance, huh?
Yeah, and then you've got it's the President's Cup year, too, so it's a big year for Canadians.
Yeah.
In Montreal, led by Mike Weir.
Mike is a great. He was at our championship here. and he
Past champion.
past champion, and he's such a nice person, so considerate, and any anytime I see these guys, they really represent the game of golf so well.
They're let's see who all did I Tim Herron,
Timmy,
David Toms, Darren Clark, Miguel Angel Jimenez.
I got to play with John Daly in the Pro-Am.
How was that?
Oh, it's marvelous. He is so much fun. He is who he is. He doesn't make any excuses for it. He enjoys life that he likes to, and we talked about his Open Championship when he won the.
At St. Andrews?
Yeah, and boy, remember when they chipped in on him? I said to John, John, the golf gods were messing with you. They were just testing you. Yeah, but man, he almost gave me a heart attack when he chipped in. But then he went on to win in extra innings.
Now, his first major, Charlie.
Yes.
He wasn't even in the field.
Nope.
It's a story where he's, the sixth alternate, and Nick Price's wife goes into labor. Can you tell us a little bit more about Daly's first major?
Well, Daly was, Wednesday night he was driving to PGA because he just got in a sixth alternate, and he was surprised to a lot of people on his ability to hit the ball longer than anybody. And Cobra had put out this new driver with this new head, and John was nailing it. And Bruce Liskey, God rest his soul, he was in line to win his first major, and he just couldn't beat John because John, he just grip it and rip it.
Yeah.
And he really caught the imagination of the whole golfing world. But then he went on to really, make some mistakes that we weren't used to. But he was a young kid from Arkansas, and now he's wonderful. I enjoy him.
You got to give it to him. I think he's had both knees operated on.
Oh yeah.
And he is still, in the weeks leading into the Invitational, Charlie, there was John Daly long drive qualifiers all over Houston, and I think there was a couple up in Dallas too. Invitational team did a great job getting photos and video from that. And it was packed.
Yep.
And everyone wants to come compete against John, and it's amazing he's still doing it. He's still moving around well and
he's
good condition for what he's done to his body.
Well, I wouldn't say good condition. I mean, you get up close and personal with him, and he's got some miles on that body. But he got a set of hands on him. He could have been a boxer. He could have been a baseball pitcher. I mean, his ability to use his hands is second to none.
I think I read he could kick the ball like a football field goal.
Sure.
He could knock down about a 55-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So impressive. Hey, listen, Wells Fargo Championship, third round, getting started this afternoon around noon. Xander Schauffele and Rory McIlroy will go off at 12:35. Xander, big 5-shot lead at 11 under. But wow, look at who's in second, Charlie. Rory McIlroy and Jason Day chasing.
Thank you.
At 7 under. We'll get your feel on how this weekend's going to go, and we will also hear from Rory about some players not wanting him back on the board and how he sees the future of golf. We'll hear some sound from that, and we'll also talk about the PGA at Valhalla next week. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
You're listening to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. It's by Insperity HR that makes a difference. Coming off an incredible Texas swing here in Houston. We had the Houston Open. We had the Chevron Championship, Women's LPGA Major. Up north, you had the Byron Nelson. You had the Veritex Bank Championship. The tour's going to return to Texas in 2 weeks for the Colonial. But last week, I think really put it all together with the legends present in the Woodlands, and that's all thanks to one company, Charlie.
Insperity. Insperity, a company that has grown its business since 1986 from zero to $7 billion. Millions of dollars helping people with HR problems, small businesses growing that business, and they're really always ahead of the game. They know what's happening in the future, and they don't look back, they look forward. They're a forward-looking company, and if you want to grow your small business, give Insperity a call, and they'll send their experts out to give you a look and give you ideas on what to do to grow your business, and you will really be thankful that you call them. It's a great company. It's a great group of people that just love to go to work and love to find solutions that will help you run your business. Insperity, a company that wants to help the small business owner. So give them a call. Both Will and I, we're so happy that they're our sponsor, and it's just all good.
Yeah, they what a footprint they create on the business world, and then of course into the sports world. I talking to every player last week, the Insperity Invitational. It's the best tournament on the Champions Tour, hands down. From the amenities to the golf course to the management, I think it's a perfect week, and I think even with the rain, Charlie. I mean, we talked about this last week. They had Brad Paisley on Thursday. They had, Jim Nantz in a roundtable conversation with the best players ever on Friday. So it just doesn't get that much better than that when you're talking about the Champions Tour.
No, it really doesn't. And enjoying golf at its finest.
Yep. As far as the Wells Fargo Championship, Xander Schauffele leads the way at 11 under par. It's a big lead for him going to the weekend, 64-67. Charlie, this guy can win PGA Tour events. We know that. He's gotten a little criticized from the media for not finishing off, leads he's had in majors. But do you think this week, a signature event, he's number 3 on the FedEx Cup standings. With Scheffler out this week, it'd be a perfect opportunity for him to pick up some ground. Do you like Xander Schauffele this weekend?
You've got to. I mean, his record this spring, he's been involved in most every tournament.
Yep.
He always shooting really good scores, and he doesn't seem to bother about not getting it done. Somebody else just plays a little better than he does on Sunday. So I expect him to win a major this year. I mean, he's that dedicated, that good, and I'm rooting for him.
His game seems to fit at any golf course. Valhalla, Royal Troon, Pinehurst, not in that order. We'll go Valhalla next week, Pinehurst in 4 weeks, and then the Open will follow later this summer at Royal Troon. But his golf course his golf game seems to fit at any course. But he's gonna have some work to do as Rory and Jason Day are chasing him this weekend.
It'll be a fun weekend. It's a great golf course they're playing. It's held a President's Cup. It had the PGA.
Yeah, in 2017.
And so it tests your mettle when you turn the corner for the Green Mile, and there's a lot of things out there that gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Angel had a great chance to win there.
Yes, he did, and some little smart kid, Rory McIlroy, went crazy on the back 9, shot 30. And beat us out of a lot of money.
Happened to be his first tour win.
Yep.
You've had some great players get their first win here over the years. Rory in 2010. Ricky won his first PGA Tour event, Quail Hollow in 2012. And then I thought Wyndham Clark winning last year. Wyndham Clark was 217 in the world going into this week last year and won the tournament, made a Ryder Cup team, won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So this tournament does a lot from the perspective of confidence. Charlie, how hard is this golf course?
Well, one year, I'm going to test your mettle. Somebody won this tournament making 8 on the last hole.
Who was that?
He was a Cajun.
He was a Cajun.
LSU fame.
Was it David Toms? Wow. An 8 on the last hole?
He couldn't get off of that last hole. He was hitting it all over. I mean, he had a big lead, as you can imagine, and that's hard to do with a big lead. And he hit it left, he hit it right, hit it left, hit it right. He was playing Army golf, and so, yeah.
But he had a big enough lead to hang on.
Yeah.
Even with an 8 on the last. Wow. It is a tough closing stretch. 17 could be tougher if technology has not caught up so much. Is that right?
Right. I mean, the hole can play 240 over water and water. There's a beautiful lake right next to it. And the year that Thomas won the PGA there, he hit 7-iron into the green because it's elevated tee. Makes it a little easier, but the hardest part about that is you're thinking about 18, because 18 is really hard, and so you take for granted the par 3, and it sneaks up on you, and you make an easy double bogey. So it's a great course.
I think Rory's going to have a great obviously does have a great chance, 5 back going into the weekend. That's nothing for someone who has had the kind of success that he's had here over his career. Talk of the week is the shock and the announcement that world number 3 Rory McIlroy would not be rejoining the PGA Tour Advisory Board. And this announcement was a shock, being that a few months ago Rory withdrew from the board, and he said it was too much responsibility.
Something's going on there that I don't like. I mean, that was a big mistake on Rory's part. You would have thought he would have had that a yes or before he said yes. But there's some guys on the policy board that said, "Now wait a minute, you were gone. Now how come you're coming back? We're going to vote."
Yeah,
and they didn't vote for him.
Really short period of time, too.
Yeah.
It's concerning from a mental perspective when it comes to Rory. It doesn't seem like he can make up his mind on much of anything. Here was Rory's first statement on not joining the PGA Tour board.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversations. Sort of reminded me partly why I didn't. I think it got pretty complicated and pretty messy. I think with the way it happened, I think it's opened up some really smart issue from things that happened before. So, I think, and it was, I think there was a subset of people on the board that would maybe.
All right, that's enough. So basically what he said, it's too low. But what he said was, there's certain people on the board that, are not willing to just let him walk back in. Kevin Streelman came out this week and said, even if we wanted to, it's not that simple. You have to vote someone back in, and there's a process to go through it. So Rory didn't seem that bothered by it from his sound, but what he wants for the game, Charlie, is very different than what a lot of these golfers want. He wants the global schedule, and he lives in London now. Do you see? Is there any? I know we've talked about this a bunch. Is there any world where you see the PGA Tour being a global schedule?
I think he wants to go to live. How about that? And collect that $800 million fee or whatever it's going to be. That personal likes and dislikes. What's good for the, for the overall tour. That's what we got to protect.
Yeah.
Not what Rory wants. What is good for the tour. And we've got to have some people with some common sense figure this out. Because as we're going in, this morning I read that the government is going to mess with my retirement fund. That scares the heck out of me. And the government's going to mess with this entity once they get these billions of dollars sorted out, and they're going to lose their tax exempt status real quick. You get some of these congressmen that,
You're talking about the PGA Tour as a 501.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, all that kind of stuff has really opened up a can of worms, and all of a sudden, we're not talking golf, we're talking finance, and we're losing our direction.
When you're talking about having a seat on the PGA Tour policy board, is that a position that brings control and more favor when it comes to getting into some of these fields?
Sure, it is. Definitely. I mean, human nature, people are going to take care of their friends and they're going to do this, that, and the other. So far, in golf, you shoot a score and that gives you the right to play in the tournament. You win a tournament, that gives you a right. You don't get rights by having friends on the board. You got to separate that. We got an independent board that's made up of men and women of other businesses that can relate to what golf is, but they can be fair for the masses, for the field. We got to protect the field
Especially because it's only 70 men in some of these events now.
And one thing that when you play golf in a tournament, the golfers are their own rules people. We don't have referees in golf.
Did you see the Xander drop?
Yes. So
I think there's an argument to be made. First round, 8th hole, drove it right, right next to the out of bounds fence, and there was a shot link tower in the line between his ball and the cup, so he got it dropped.
You're not supposed to get relief from an out of bounds fence.
Yeah, but he did not. He did not.
Okay.
He did not.
I did not see that.
He was about 5 yards left of the fence. The fence was not an obstruction. He had a swing, but there was trees completely surrounding him, and there was a little opening in line from where he was hitting to the pin, and in between his ball and that opening was a shot link tower, and man-made obstruction. They gave him relief, and Xander led the first round.
Okay, well, if the rules official gave relief, it was a legal drop.
Some people on Twitter are saying that basically Johnson Wagner, Golf Channel's Johnson Wagner, did a reenactment of it, and he, same spot with the shot link tower in line, and Johnson went over there with the rules official, did a little TV segment, punched it out, and got it out without any relief. So I think there's some question to how much was the shot link tower in Xander's way, but
it wasn't. He took advantage of the rules.
Well,
that's sometimes that happens. If you know the rules and the way it's written, they might have to rewrite that rule in the decisions book as we move forward.
He's got a 4-shot lead heading into the weekend. Bogeyed 18 yesterday. Would have had a 5-shot lead, but he's 4 ahead of Rory and Jason Day going into the weekend at the Wells Fargo Championship. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. We're on Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
All right, continuing along on the golf conversation here on ESPN 97.5, and just some more context to the conversation that we finished off last segment about sponsors exemptions and who's getting into what field. These signature events like this week, the Wells Fargo Championship, Memorial at Muirfield, Arnold's tournament at Bay Hill, they've all been shortened to 70 players now, 70-man field in these signature events. Well, there's like 200 players with PGA Tour cards. Typically, it's a 132-man field. So we've seen, as a result, we've seen some shocking exemptions in these tournaments. This week, Charlie, world number 54, Adam Scott, and world number 227, Webb Simpson, received sponsors exemptions. Adam Scott's having a good year. 5 top 25s and 8 starts. Webb has not finished better than 30th in 10 starts. To me, these are two different exemptions. One guy's playing very well, and one guy has a lot of connections.
I got a few exemptions myself.
Charlie, you...
When I was a young golf professional at Houston Country Club, and the board of the Houston Golf Association were kind enough to invite me to the tournament, and I was a club pro, and I was taking a spot from the PGA Tour.
What's your perspective there?
I loved it. But
you were obviously a good enough player, and I guess maybe that's the point of this.
Well, but I think when so much is at stake, you qualify, and there's ways to qualify. And if you don't play good enough to qualify, you shouldn't get a special invitation, especially in this situation where Webb Simpson, who's a member of the club, is ranked
227.
Why should he get an exemption? Explain to me.
We have sound from Webb Simpson, and it's good. It's good quality here. Apologies about the Rory sound. Here's Webb Simpson on his sponsors exemption.
Well, I'm not a very active social media user, so y'all probably see a lot more criticisms than I do. But look, it's a different day and age now than it was. I know these sponsor exemptions are probably the most coveted sponsor exemptions in the history of the tour. But we're not going to make everyone happy. And as we were looking at what criteria should these sponsor exemptions be, yada yada, we were trying to balance making sponsors happy, giving them the opportunity to invite, these tournament directors. Who do they want to bring to their tournament, to their community? Who do they think will add value to their tournament? These tournament directors are working around the clock for a year trying to make, their tournament the best. And so we want to give them the opportunity to say, hey, you have a few spots, 4 spots in these signature events to be able to invite who you want to invite. And I know that this is my 4th sponsor exemption, and Adam Scott's received his fair share.
4th of the year.
There was controversy, and guys were trying to link us being on the board, but it has nothing to do with me being on the board. I've known these tournament directors, and they'll tell you themselves since my rookie year, 2009, and the 4 I've gotten, I have great affection for those tournaments and those sponsors, and I think it's way more than just currently, who's getting them. It's how long have they been out here? They've won major championships. They've been around the game for a long time, and these tournament directors, Gary Soba is a friend of mine, and he gets to pick along with Wells Fargo. Who do they think would be great for their tournament?
Charlie, you got 132 guys grinding at the opposite field event in Myrtle Beach right now.
Yes, and once again, I go back to the PGA Tour's unique tour in that if you qualify in the top 100, there's certain privileges that you get. If you qualify in the top 50, there's certain privileges that you get. And that's the way you get into events, not by having the tournament director being your friend. I mean, come on. in the World Series, you have to win to get into the World Series. You don't put in Chicago because it's going to have a better field over, New York, or you see, qualify the way the rules are made, and then there's no question about, oh well, he's my friend, so I'm going to get him. Nah, that's a lame excuse.
I'm shocked he said that.
Yes,
and he also admitted that he's received sponsors exemptions in the first 4 signature events of the year, and he didn't play that well at any of them. Like I said, his best finish, Webb Simpson's best finish in his last 10 starts, is 30th. He's a former major champion. A lot of players on tour speak highly of him, but probably did not deserve a place in the field this week. Next week's the PGA Championship, and they released the field for the PGA Championship. Some pros and some cons with the field. They invited the best player on the Korn Ferry Tour right now, Tim Whiting, who shot a combined 52 under in 2 straight weeks in Bradenton and Arlington. Charlie, they also made some exceptions on the live side of things. Taylor Gooch got into the field.
David, they had a funny last name, Gooch. Who are you inviting? I'm inviting Gooch.
They invited some of the more successful players on the Asian Tour, David Puig. You are a member of PGA of America. This seems like they've done a solid job getting an even, fair playing field together.
Well, let's start with the Masters. Smallest field on tour.
52 players?
52 players. The PGA of America owns the rights to the PGA Championship. And as a member of the PGA of America, I had the way to qualify for that event, and we used to have 40 spots. Now it's down to 20. We've given them away because of the pressure from the PGA Tour and trying to do a better job. So 20 of my fellow golf professionals got out. They work day and night promoting the game and all that, and this was a bonus. It's still, the top 120 are going to win, but it was a special privilege because we're members of an organization that runs this tournament. So I'm a little opposed to that, to keep giving away our spots. And we saw
and just to clarify for people, the PGA Tour does not run the PGA Championship.
No, it does not. It's just like the PGA Tour does not run the Masters.
Right.
It does not run the British Open. It does not run the U.S. Open. It runs the PGA Tour events.
And the PGA of America and the golf professionals that are growing the game around the country every day, they've got a great management team who's putting on the PGA Championship. It is shocking that somehow they've lost control of how many pros are getting into the field. And not only that, but year to year, we're seeing the pros get more competitive in the field.
Well, it's just like the PGA Tour does not run the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is property of the PGA of America because in 1916, when our association was established, those were our properties, and we've got to protect those for our association. So, and politics enters into the deal, and sometimes it's shady politics.
What I learned last year is there's fans that really connect with the PGA professionals that are playing in the event. You look at Michael Block and the way he finished last year.
He was the success story of that tournament.
It seems like fans can relate a little bit more to the blue-collar, day-to-day professional like Michael Block.
Yeah. I've been there, done that. I never had a hole-in-one.
Six major championships.
Yeah. So, but, those are golf is
for you,
my profession, but it's also my hobby. And I know, hundreds of golf pros. There's 29,000 members of the PGA of America, and we all work at clubs and we all promote golf from the ground up with junior events, junior programs. We're getting in there and making the game grow, and it should be just part of what we do.
Yeah, and speaking of PGA America, Charlie, you got a couple questions to answer on the other side.
Okay.
Regarding the swing. a couple players feeling stuck in their transition. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how do you determine whether you putt or chip when you're just off the green.
My answer is you get stuck in traffic.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways. I'm interested to get in this conversation because we have a couple listeners who are stuck from what they say is a shallow position in their golf swing. And I want to figure out here whether you can be stuck, and when you are stuck, is it always, are you in a shallow position, or can you be stuck from a steep position coming down?
Steep, you get stuck in the ground when you make a divot 3 inches behind the ball. That's stuck. You're landing the club too soon. You got to sweep it.
And if we also have time, Charlie, I want to talk about what your prep with your players was heading into a major. We're sitting here the week before the second major of the year. Did your players take a week off before the first major? Did they like to compete? We'll get your insight on that. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, presented by Insperity HR that makes a difference. Back after this.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
Talk about live.
Xander Schauffele leads the way going into the third round of the Wells Fargo Championship. He is third right now on the FedEx Cup standings, and with Scotty Scheffler absent from the field this week, of course, Meredith, his wife, is going to go into Labor any day now. Our best wishes to the Scheffler family. But with Scheffler absent this week, you could not ask for a better leaderboard. You have Xander Schauffele leading the way at 11 under. He's third in the FedEx Cup. He'll have a chance to kind of make up some ground as we get closer and closer to Eastlake. And then Rory McIlroy, who is 16th on the FedEx Cup standings. And he's going to have a great chance this weekend sitting at 4 back to give himself a good chance to win and hopefully get into that FedEx Cup conversation. Rory, he's been the off and on voice of golf. I think we've determined where he stands in that. His thoughts are a little confusing on the game, but it seems like he's focused on the task at hand this week and have a good chance to chase down Xander Schauffele.
Yes, he's going to try like heck, but he's got one guy that is right there next to him is Jason Day.
Yeah.
Jason has won at this event, so he's going to provide some great golf to watch this weekend. And other guys behind Colin Morikawa, he's been close all and can't get it done.
Yeah, won the Zozo Championship in the fall.
Because this is the type of golf course that somebody can shoot 63.
Yeah.
So they can come from behind and win it. Rory McIlroy did that when he won his first tournament in 2010 and beat Ankel. Broke my heart, but that's all right. We just come off of winning the Masters, so I still had a little money left.
The lost check didn't hurt too bad. They resurfaced all the greens at Wells Fargo at Quill Hollow over the last year, and some players in their post-round press conferences have noted that they're fast, but they have a softer feel to them.
Well, this is the second Augusta. The general chairman of the golf course here is really proactive and has stayed in the game and has a lot of power within that club and within the PGA. So he's prepared it for the President's Cup. Now he's got the PGA coming. So one day this is going to hold the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
it's that type of golf course.
Justin Thomas is going to look to try to win his third PGA next week. And he said in his press conference that when he first came on tour, he didn't like to play the week before majors. And then in the two majors that he's won, 17 at Quail, 21 at Southern Hills, he teed it up the week before the major. What was your style to prepare for your 6 majors? What was your advice to your players?
Golf is a 365-day game. You're working every day, whether you're playing or not. And you don't know what you're going to be like in 365 days. So you got to take each week as a time, each month as a time, and as you're going towards each tournament. If you get caught and you start getting sloppy, you got to take the week off. But if you're hot, keep it going. Play it the week before. So there's no one answer. But the answer is you just got to keep playing the game.
Yeah.
You can't win unless you're in the fray, and sometimes I got a headache. You're not going to win that week, so you just got to take it little time. Time is on your side. So a month out, how you feeling? Where you going? Family situation. I mean, Scotty's got a different situation. You can't plan your births to come and coincide with your with your tournament schedule. So he can't wait to be a father, and so he might not play in the PGA. Yeah. Not because he's tired, because he wants to be there for the birth of his child. That year that Mickelson and Payne Stewart fought off at Pinehurst, and Mickelson was going to leave during the round if he got the word that his wife had gone into labor. So
Yeah, Mickelson had a pager.
That's right.
In his bag, 1999 at Pinehurst. But talking about Scheffler, it's got to be somewhat satisfying to win the Players and the Masters and be able to take a little bit of time off after the wins.
Oh well, sure. One thing about it. You don't have to work the next week because you got your paycheck. And it's a big paycheck. The common Joe. My dad. He was working when I was being born. He couldn't take a week off.
Well, how about just your era of pro golf? Taking a week off on the PGA Tour would never be an option. You're working all week, teaching in the pro shop. It's a new option for these guys, and I'm not sure it's the best thing. But in Scheffler's case, of course, baby on the way, you got to take
all
a
the
week
sports. You have permission to if your wife is going into labor, you can go to But it's a new world, and the money's completely different. Back in the 40s, after the war, people couldn't, you couldn't lose a paycheck. You wanted to get that money, and if I was coming like I did, your dad will show up after work.
Let's get to a couple listener questions. As far as the teaching is concerned, this is Luke in Kingwood. Charlie, how do you determine whether to putt or chip when you're just off the green with a good lie?
Good question. They call it the Texas wedge. The putter is really an easier club to hit the ball with than a wedge. And so if you're nervous and stuff like that, and you got a good enough lie, you can putt it. And you should practice that off-green putting. That's really because a chipping stroke is just a little longer swing and with a little more loft. But you bring in other, problems. If you're chipping, you can chili dip. That means hitting the ground first and then the ball. So the safest shot in golf off the green is putting. And if you're an 18 handicap, I would say the putting is going to be a lot easier to master than trying to use that 90-degree wedge or 60-degree wedge that everybody likes to, and fluff it and get mad and go pick it up and go to the next hole.
For an 18 handicap, their worst putt from off the green is going to turn out better than an average chip.
Yes, exactly right. Percentages that putting is a lost art off the green, and Byron Nelson and you get used to putting it off the green. You hit more good shots than bad shots.
All right, this next question we're going to do our best to maneuver through. This gets a little technical here, Charlie. This is Andrew in Dallas. Charlie, I have a feel in the transition of the golf swing that feels stuck. The only way I can describe it is it feels like my club is trailing too far behind my body. What's the fix?
Well, the fix is turn your body out of the way. It's you're going too laterally, I would imagine, instead of having that rotary where you're pivoting off that left foot and that left hip is turning the club back on the arc. We're dealing with centrifugal force, and centrifugal force is a circular motion. Well, the golf swing is a circular motion, and so you can't go laterally and expect the club to follow you that way. You've got to release the club. The club head has the furthest distance to go, so you're going to get the shaft leading the club head, but then you just got to turn and let the club head go back to the left.
It's like a spindle.
That's it.
Isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah. Merry-go-round.
Or opening and closing a door.
Yeah.
None of that works up and down.
No.
It's all around.
It's all around. Circular motion, centrifugal force.
Charlie,
I've had a great show today.
You've had a great show.
Started a little weak. I was a little, but
well, you had a great round of golf yesterday afternoon.
I love golf again.
It's
at 80, man.
You had a great run, Charlie.
I birdied the last hole, par 5.
I think we both have Xander to win the Wells Fargo.
You got it.
Finishing off the 4-shot lead, -135 going to the weekend. Great show today, Charlie. We'll talk to you next Saturday here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
See ya.